Hi, and welcome to the Discover 2021 product update webinar. Should go for about approximately 30 minutes. I might just wait another 30 seconds or so to wait for a few more people to come on board. Okay, I think we'll get started then. So it's just after 1 o'clock. So I'd firstly like to thank you for taking the time to attend the webinar. I know you're all pretty busy, and yeah, it's good to be able to review the latest developments in our product range, so I thank you for attending. My name is Tim Ashby. I'm on the Discover development team, and I'm involved with the design and support of the products that we'll be going through. John Shippick is the product manager for the Discover suite. Within the webinar, I'm going to be displaying the updates in a PowerPoint presentation, followed by some live demonstrations. So please hold back with your questions till the end of the presentation. I'll only be answering the written ones in the webinar question panel and not taking any verbal questions at this stage. Okay, so obviously presenter is me, Tim Ashby. If you did want to contact me, so for any reasons, basically product related or any suggestions, please contact me on that email at tim.ashby@dataminesoftware.com. And anything related to support, please use that support email. So it's support.discover@dataminesoftware.com. So the Discover suite consists of three main products: Discover, Discover 3D, and Discover Mobile. So you may be familiar with these. Discover and Discover 3D, they're bundled together. They were recently updated in the 2021 version in late December. So you may or may not have that installed. This was a fairly significant update to the Discover 3D platform in particular, and probably the largest we've done in I'd say about 10 years or so. This week, we also released an update to the 2021 version, and that basically included some any issues that we found within the December release or any fixes, and it also included a new tool. That's the sample planner tool, which I'll go through a little bit later. And Discover Mobile, that's the third one on the list there. That's been continuously updated and it's been around for around about 2 years. And with that one, we're basically, there's no real schedule for that as far as the release. As soon as we put a new feature in, or if we fix an issue, that's just out on the website there. So out on Google Play and the App Store. So yeah, basically there's no release schedule for Discover Mobile. That's regularly updated. So just check check Discover Mobile's up to date on a regular basis. So with Discover and Discover 3D, the updates you can find generally, we've got a Discover KB, so that's always a good resource to look at. If not, we do have in-product alerts that pop up. You'll see down the bottom corner of your screen, you'll see little alerts that come up, and yeah, so you'll be able to update the product from there. Discover Mobile, that can be downloaded for free. That's either in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for free. So just showing you what they look like on there. All you need to do is you have to type in Datamine Discover Mobile, because there is another product out there called Discover Mobile. So we had to add Discover or Datamine to the front of that. So basically our philosophy with the products is that the Discover, we're continually updating rather than having one major release per year. So yeah, it just makes it easier and quicker for the clients to get updates and fixes quicker. So now I'm just going to take you through the developments of the Discover product. So although we've focused primarily on the Discover 3D in this particular update, the 2021, we still have included quite a few updates for the base or core Discover. I'm not going to go through any of the updates in the Map Info 2029 release. That can be done on the Precisely website if you wanted to go through those. All right, so what have we got in there? I'll go through this and then I'll just do a little live demo after that. So we've got a new scaled layout tool. That's basically an attempt to replace scaled output. It's one of our most heavily used tools. We have a new grid line planner tool. That's sort of replacing the traverse lines tool, so grid planning. That one wasn't very intuitive. It's been around for quite a few years, so we sort of reimagined that and tried to make it a little bit easier to use. We also have a new sample planner tool. That's just come out in the latest release, which was this week, and that enables you to get samples along a line. So at a planned space, so maybe every 20 meters you want to have a sample along a line. And finally, as far as the new tools goes, we've got a new XYZ sort of tile web service tool. And what you can do with that is you can get a URL for a tile server and you can display things like open street maps and all that sort of thing. What we've also done is with the drill hole section creation tools, we've separated them out into 3 separate tools to try and make them a little bit more intuitive. We've got better support for trenches in compositing in the drill hole module, and also big TIFF support. That was lagging a little bit in the images tool, so we've gone ahead and supported big TIFFs in those tools. And then various bug fixes and enhancements. Okay, so the scaled layout tool, this is what it looks like. And we're basically trying to reimagine the old scaled layout, make it simpler, quicker, and easier to use. We haven't got rid of the scaled output tool. It's still there, so you can transition over. And what you do is you select from predefined templates, as you'd see here. Then, as you would in scaled output, you select the page size, select a title block size. You can make it larger or smaller. You can select the map window that you want to use, define the scale, and add a map grid. Then finally, you add the title block. So this is all very familiar if you've used scaled output before. And then you add your company logo. That's always been one that's been a little bit tricky to do. This one's fairly easy, and I'll show you a little bit later. And then your map's ready to print. The second new tool that we've got in Discover is the Grid Line Planner. And like I said, that replaces the Traverse Lines tool. And what we've done with that, we've just improved the user interface there. And we've also added some new functionality. So what we've got here is a line infill. So if you wanted to have closer spaced sampling between particular lines, you can do that now. And then also you can crop out the grid planned based on polygons. So it might be a cadastre boundary or geological boundary, etc. The second tool is the Sample Planner tool. So the Sample Planner tool, that's one where you can see here is a line, and you might want to say every kilometre or 10 metres or something like that, you want to space out points along a line for sampling. Believe it or not, that's quite a tricky thing to do in Map Info Discover, or it has been. So this one here makes it a lot easier. Then we have the section generation tools. So that used to be just one tool for like plans and vertical sections, etc. So we've just separated them out into 3 separate ones and tried to make it a little bit more intuitive because it was getting quite cumbersome. And on the vertical sections, we've also got an interactive line. So instead of having to select a line or permanently draw a line, you can draw an interactive line. Okay, and then the XYZ base map. So in this instance, we've got an OpenStreetMap URL. All you need to do is go into Google, type in XYZ tiles or base maps, and there'll be a whole series of URLs you can get. Just please be aware when using these, you need to probably read the terms and conditions on those websites and that, but yeah, how you use them. But yeah, there's plenty of resources out there to find these particular URLs. Okay, so we'll just do a quick demo. So firstly, I'll just showcase the scaled output and scaled layout. So there's scaled output just sitting next to it, and there we go. So we click on that icon, then we select either from landscape or portrait templates. We envisage later on that you might be able to put your own templates. We've started off just with some predefined ones, but yeah, we're sort of wanting some user feedback how they want to sort of progress this. So we'll use this one here. Just give it a name. Select your paper size. Click OK. And this is the predefined template I was talking about. So you can just select between a larger and smaller title block. Just depends how you want it to look. Click OK. Select your map. In this case, we've only got one. You can move that around, so that's all fine, as you would in the old scaled output. You can choose a map scale. So in this case, we'll do 200,000. We want to add a grid line. I'll just accept the defaults there. Go OK. And then we're going to populate a legend here. So select your table, select your field. You can also use a thematic if you want there for a legend. And then we've just got our title block here. I'll just quickly type in some values. And we'll add a logo. And that's pretty much it. So then if you don't want a title block, just click this button. But that add logo, that's been quite a big support generator, how to put a logo in. You used to have to register it and all that. Now it's a lot easier. So just click OK. What you'll also see now, we've got a little pop-up there, and what that's telling us is that you can also change the scale. So these scale bars and also the scale text, it is interactive. So if you change the map window display, so all you need to do is the scale bar down here, just double click on it, and then you can change the properties of the scale bars. Okay, so that's the new scaled layout. Like I said, we're not getting rid of the scaled output. You can use both. You can transition it, give us any suggestions on how we can improve or add new features to that new scaled layout. Okay, I'll just get them. We'll have a look at the grid line planner now. Okay, so that grid line planner tool, that's on two tabs. It's on the analysis tab, and it's also on the drill hole tab. So that's here, and also there. I'll just open that up, and we'll just go around this particular unit. We're just going to do a baseline here, so we draw an interactive line. And what's good about this, we can either use a selected line, you can do it manually, and we can also interactively change the angles and the length. So just click this refresh button, and you might just want to do that to some even number. So it's quite easy to change it. And then all we need to do is just define the number of lines and pegs and all that sort of thing. So I'll just quickly type in some values. And then if you want to have a look, just click preview. We'll just accept that. And then finally, we've got some clipping and some infill here. So what I'm going to do, I'll click that line clip. I'll select that particular unit and I'll go preview. So that's going to generate that grid line plan and it's masked around that polygon. You can select multiple polygons if you like. And then I'll show you the last one, which is the line infill tool. So it shows you all the lines here, and then what you might say is I want to select that one, so click on here. And I'll go between there. And you just say the line spacing. So in this case, I'll do 100 meters. So that might be an area of particular interest and you want to do some closer space drilling or sampling around there. So it's more interactive than the old one and hopefully more intuitive. Okay. Now I'll show you the sample planner tool. And this was just released about a week ago. So that's in the same location or next to the grid line planner tool. So that's sample planner. So we want to sample along this line. This might be a ridge, it might be a valley, it might be a walking track, whatever it is. So I select the line. I can see there's a start and an end. And I can also change the locations of those. So I might say I want the start there. I want the end here. And I can also flip those over. So we'll just start from the start there. Okay, then we want to do point spacing. So I'll just do about 1 kilometre just to make it look nicer. I can give a prefix and all that, have proper naming conventions. And then we'll just save that off. Okay, so I'll just turn the labels on there. So as you can see here, from the start, it'll do 1,000 metre spacings. What it won't do is that right at the end there, you might have, that's not exactly the length divisible by 1,000. So sometimes you might have slight differences in the distances right at the end, but that's sort of understandable. Okay. Next, I'll showcase the XYZ tile. So I'll just show you how easy that is to use. All right, so that's just located under the Discover tab, under File, Import, and there's one here tucked down the bottom called XYZ Base Map Import. All I need to do is put in a URL. I'll just put in the attribution for the text. And we'll just save that off as a tab file. Click OK. And that's your OpenStreetMaps within MapInfo now. So like I said, just Google around and you'll be able to find some of these URLs. They're fairly easy to locate. Okay, then finally, I'll just show you the drill hole tool. So the changes that we've done there. I won't bother creating that because I just need to move on to show you some of the 3D ones. So up in the toolbar here, you'll see that there's 3 new buttons. So we've got Generate Sections. So what we've done with that, we've tried to make it a little bit simpler and more intuitive. So there's your define line interactively. So I can just basically draw a line. You can do the same for a polyline section. So I might want to define a polyline. Okay. The next one is the generate plans. That was always sort of intermingled with the vertical sections, a little bit sort of hard to understand. So that's just on its own now. And finally, this batch generate sections. That's just, you basically have your section lines table, and you put in new lines, and then you could batch select them and have all your envelopes and that sort of displayed, and they'll take up all that information there. So that's, yeah, they're the main changes that we've done within the drill hole module. Okay, so moving along, we're just going to have a look at 3D. All right, so 3D's received probably its most significant upgrade to date. The user interface, we've completely redesigned it, so hopefully for a better user experience. We've got all new icons and tabs, logical grouping of tools, hidden shortcuts exposed on the ribbon, floating toolbars. We've kept some of those just because people like them, and we've simplified most of the dialogues and tool interfaces. Okay, so this was the old user interface in Discover 3D. That's the 32-bit version. It was basically a series of menus and toolbars. The new user interface, what we've got here, is it's all sort of ribbon driven, and we've tried to logically group all the common tools together and expose a lot of things that were hidden in keyboard shortcuts. As far as simplifying the dialogues, this is just the fly-through wizard. What we've done here is that a lot of the panels had these icons and images on them. We've simplified all that. We've changed all the icons, and also a lot of superfluous wordage on dialogues. We've got rid of that. So as far as the upgrades, we haven't just done sort of a coat of paint on the top there. We've done a lot of architectural improvements underneath as well. We've consolidated the drill hole database under the hood. So the 2D, or Discover, and 3D are using a unified database, so it's just one database. And as a result of that, we found there's some vast speed improvements of loading and viewing larger drill hole data sets. We've got a new mode for easier navigation. You can go back to the old one. So basically you can keep navigating sort of infinitely through the scene rather than stopping at that black focus box. Yeah, quicker EGB rendering and a lot of bug fixes and enhancements. A new tool that we have put in there is the drill hole cones. We've been asked that a fair bit. So yeah, if you've got unorientated structural data, you can either do the alpha or dip angles as a cone. The drill holes. Now you can actually open up a drill hole project directly. Before you had to do it all through all the tab files. So you had to know which tab files are part of the drill hole and open it all up. It was a little bit difficult. That just directly opens now. Excuse me. We've got full support of trench data as well. In the past, it was sort of like one trench data type works, another didn't. Now it all should work seamlessly. We've also got the ability to align the cursor plane to a drill hole section, so if you want to digitize on it. And we've also got the ability to filter individual drill hole tables. In the past, that was just every single downhole table was all lumped into one view. Now you can separate that out. And also the voxel model. So we've streamlined the processing of that. That was a little bit confusing in the past. And also the importation of ASCII models, we've streamlined that process as well. We now support wavefront OBJ files, so directly supported in 3D, and also the cursor plane functionality. We've got a dedicated tab here and also a toolbar. A lot of this stuff was hidden away, so we've exposed it all now. Okay, have a quick demo of 3D. I'll just open up some drill hole traces. Okay, so as far as the interface goes, I'll just quickly show you. We've got all these tabs going across here now. You can come up in here and dock all your favorite tools there. Your file tab, that's basically opening, printing, saving and closing, and also the help. That was sort of just scattered throughout the interface before. What you'll also see on all the tabs, which is common, you've got this session and mode. So basically opening, session, saving, closing, and also navigating. If I just quickly go through the tabs there, you'll see that they're common on all of them, instead of having to navigate back and forth between tabs. So the home tab's just some general sort of window type tools and that, and some exports. The navigate tab, that's all your navigational controls, view directions, etc. They are also located on this toolbar. So that can be docked and moved around the screen. So you can change all your different modes from there if you like, or you can do it from the tabs. The data tab, that's got all the ones where you want to bring in all your point data or vector or your drill holes, your surfaces, voxels, etc. So you open everything via this now. And one good thing we've put in here is the cursor plane tab. So a lot of that stuff was hidden away in this plane settings. They were keyboard shortcuts, so it's all exposed here. And we've also got that displayed within this cursor plane toolbar. So you can enable the cursor plane, you can move the cursor plane around, you can step the cursor plane. So all of those were hidden either in this plane settings or they were keyboard shortcuts. Features, so that's when you want to digitize. What you'll see is how to actually create new features. Well, as soon as you make a feature database enabled or editable, you'll see a contextual menu for all the editable functions here for adding, changing nodes, combining, etc. We have the grid, so that's your voxels and your surface grids, and then all your tools are tucked away under here. You got a dedicated layout tab that didn't have anything like that before, and then just all your other ancillary tools sort of tucked away in the back here. Okay, so just a quick look at some of the other features. So I'll just make the drill holes enabled so we can select them. So what you can see here as I'm going up and down, I can see the properties of that particular drill hole. So I said now we can do some filtering. So you come over here in the data window and I just want to see the lithology. So you could do that in the past, but you'd have to come in here, you'd have to go through a whole bunch of series of screens in order to do it, but it's just very quick now to go through all your different types of data and you want to display it. So I want to display assays in this instance. And I'll just quickly show you the drill hole cones tool. So I'll just click on that. That's either located under tools or under the data tab. It's also there, so in that drill hole section. Okay, so what we do here is we just need to select the field. So in this case, I want to do the dip on the cones. You can select all colors and resolutions and cone heights, etc. We just go apply. And then you've got your drill hole cones there displayed. All right, so moving along, so we're starting to sort of get towards the end, but I'll show you some features of Discover Mobile now. So Discover Mobile, it's been around for approximately 2 years or so. We've firstly developed on Android and then we've gone onto iOS. So we're continually improving it and innovating the product. The iOS version works on most iPads and iPhones, and the mobile version for Android works on most Android tablets and phones as well. So some significant additions in the last couple of months that we've put in. You can now capture tracks while conducting your data collection. You can capture non-spatial data such as downhole drill data, and you can also capture your structural data using the device sensors. Okay, so as far as structural data goes now, if you've set up your structural validation rules on the desktop, that translates from the desktop over into mobile, and you can display all your structural ticks in Discover Mobile. So it's fairly easy to do. You can also capture structure data. So if you set up your structural data table, you'll see here on the interface, you'll get this little button that appears, Structure Tool. You click on that, and then you have a clinometer and compass. So you can capture all your bedding planes and lineations, etc. So you just lay your device on the particular unit or rock, face, whatever, capture it, and all your dips and your strikes will be in there. And it supports both right-hand rule and dip and dip direction. Non-spatial data, this is coming out, even though it's working on mobile, it's coming out in mid-2021. We're just waiting on a few things with MapInfo to finalise. But basically, you can review this in the demo data set that's in mobile, and you can capture data that's just basically a browser. So it might be all your downhole assay and lithologies. This is coming in about a week's time. So in Android, I think about a week. iOS, I think this is already out. But you can display information about the mapping objects. So by that I mean, for point data, you'll see X and Y values. For lines, if you tap on them, you will see the length. And for a region or a polygon, you'll see the area and perimeter values. And all those units can be adjusted in the settings. So that's that three little dots there. You'll find the settings there. And to enable this tool, you'll see here in the layer control in mobile, there's a little wedge here with a line. That's the object info tool. The text labels, they have been moved. So they were hidden behind sort of these icons before. So now we've got a button down in the layer control. So you tap and hold to bring up a field selector. And then to enable it, select your layer and select that T, which is the text label, and then just click on an icon, or sorry, on a map object, and you'll see the respective attribute information. We've also consolidated the GPS location, map center, and accuracy into this one panel. That was over 2 panels before. They weren't movable. They were static. This thing's scrollable and movable. And we can add other features on this later on. Another feature we've got is capturing the track, which I mentioned before. So you'll see these little feet up here. Tap on that, and what that does is as you're walking along, it'll capture the track that you've walked. And you can do all your other things in Discover Mobile. So you can capture all other point lines and polygons, you can navigate, whatever. And this is just happening in the background. So you might want to see where you've walked for the day, and that all is captured in this tracks layer. We also have projection support now. So basically you can define a projection here. So you might want to say, GDA 94 zone 55, that'll display on your GPS and your map coordinates. In the past, we're only showing just lat long WGS 84. Second last thing that we've added is point averaging. So what you can do now is you can specify, I want to average 10 GPS points. So when I capture a point feature, you'll see down the bottom here, it says calculating 6 of 10. So it'll basically capture 10 points, average them all out. So then you sort of get the best sort of precision for that point. And finally, what we've got here is update an existing point to a current location. So in the past, you could only manually move a point. So say if you've got a series of planned points, you go out in the field, and where one of those points is, it's in the middle of a dam or next to a tree and you need to move it. Here, you can go stand in that location and move it using your current location, current GPS location. And then finally, with iOS, we've added external Bluetooth GPS support. We haven't got any affiliation with Bad Elf by any means, but this is the unit that we've firstly gone with because they're very easy to deal with, and the price points are quite good. You get 1 to 2 meter to 2.5 meter horizontal precision. And yeah, we're basically waiting on user feedback, what other devices we could add. But Apple, as opposed to Android, you need to sort of sign up agreements with Apple and get them to approve it. Android, you can basically use whatever device you have. So that's the difference why we're sort of slowly adding support for different GPS units. And coming soon with Discover Mobile, we've got shareable Discover Mobile projects. This has been sort of a request we get from quite a few users. So in the future, and not too distant future, you'll be able to have one mobile project, send it out to your field crews to multiple devices, and then bring them all back in. And also one that will go out fairly soon is the ability to check in and check out directly from your desktop to your or laptop to your Wi-Fi device, sorry, to your mobile device via Wi-Fi. So that won't involve the internet. Instead of using Dropbox, you can basically just directly connect to your mobile device and check it in and check it out fairly seamlessly. So it'll sort of stop you having to sort of chase a file around Dropbox. All right, so we've probably come to the end of the presentation, and I'll just have a look to see if we've got any questions. If you do have any questions, please feel free to write them down. I think there might be a couple. Just give me a sec while I read through. So we've got, can you do 3D distances draped over a DEM using the sample planner? If I interpret that correctly, what you can do is you can bring in, that sample planner is in 2D. You can have either the points or that line draped over like a DEM in 3D. That is possible. So what it does, it basically looks at the nodes, gets those nodes from that line and pins them to the GPS, or alternatively, those samples will be pinned to the GPS. Okay, just bear with me, I'll just go through. Okay, so there's a question on the functionality from MapInfo going into the ARC Pro version. I'll take that one offline because John Shippick, he's the product manager for that one, so I'll get him to answer that one for you. But yeah, we're slowly sort of adding functionality in there. Okay, we've got a question here. Can you use state plane projections in mobile? So what we're using is we've got, it's called Proj4 library, a little bit of a tech term, but it's an open source projection library, and it pretty much is used by a lot of other products. So I'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure the state planes will be in that Proj4. So we're supporting, like I said, anything in that Proj4 library. It's an open source. It's got thousands of projections in there. Yep, so I've just got here, no presentation for the ArcGIS Pro. Yeah, this one was basically around the map info side of things. Okay, I've got another question here about 3D PDFs in Discover 3D. So that's one that, yeah, we can have a look at. I know that has been a constant question we have got, so we can have another look at that. In this review, we've basically gone through, done sort of the top level UI and then also some architectural, so we can start to have a look at some of these other issues. We've got one here. Is the issue with the Microsoft Access database engine causing 3D to crash fixed? Well, we do have a little widget. If you go into, I'll just get my screen here. So if you can see my screen here, and we go to the data mine section in the Windows startup, there is an Access database fix that's been there for quite a few years. That's the way to, when there's basically another program's installed and corrupts the Access database engine, that will fix it. So that's been in there. Okay, I'll just have a look at a few more questions because we're just about running out of time. So we've got one about, can you add a view feature to view 3D objects when moving a phone around, like in Street View? Yeah, so we currently don't have like Street View in there. That with Google, they've just recently changed the way they do their licensing. Something like Street View is now a paid option. So yeah, we'd have to have a look at something like that. But yeah, currently, no, we don't have that sort of moving around, and we'd probably have to see the use case for that. Why we'd want to do that. So yeah, but send those sort of feature requests in to me. We're happy to review those. Okay. Yeah, so what I might do there, guys, is wrap that up. If you do have questions, please feel free to send them through to my email that I posted up before. And yeah, happy to take those offline. Yeah, because there's a few others there I couldn't get to. But yeah, we're just about out of time there. But yeah, thanks for attending, guys. Much appreciated. Take your time out of your day to review. Like I said, send any further questions to myself, and happy to answer those. So yeah, so I think we'll wrap that up there, guys. But yeah, thanks very much for attending, and have a good day.